What's up, Unc?
3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Nine Hole Podcast. This is your host, Ian Miller. I am joined on Instagram Live and No Filter Live by Nick Dini, ex-MLB Catcher with the Kansas City Royals. We are here to talk about amateur and youth baseball and what's going on there. Excuse me, Uncle Vinny. How you doing, man? Deans, how you doing, brother? Good to see you.
I'm good. What's up, Uncle Vin? I'm good, Mill. Excited to get into it, bro. I feel like we got a lot to dive into today, so let's go.
Yeah, dude. So we've seen a lot of stuff recently in the tournament showcase space about money grabs, about cash grabs, about bad playing surfaces, bad experiences. The facilities are dog shit. There's questions about it. There's questions about the ethics of it. We wanted to talk about some of the deceptiveness of that, the deceptive nature. Is it necessary or unnecessary in the recruiting game? Man, in scouting, like going to these perfect game or PBR or East Cobb showcases and tournaments, is that the way to go? Is that how you get seen? And how do you get seen moving forward from that, dude? So right off the bat, Deans, I know we've talked about it before. We've talked about the recruiting space, the scouting space, dude. When you were coming up, were you involved in any of these perfect game things, PBR, like East Coast Pro? Like, I know nothing about it really.
Yeah, I went to showcases, and I've actually said on here, like I blew my elbow out at a showcase, like full UCL tear, TJ a month later. So I've been to these showcases. I know what they're about. As far as my opinion on whether or not you need them, I think the most important part of it is, as a player, as a parent of the player who is going to be writing a check out to these organizations that are running these showcases, is be brutally honest and fair about where your son is currently. Because if you're a kid and I'm just going to use an example. If you're a pitcher and you got this showcase, hey, Dad, I want to go to this showcase. There's going to be all these Division I schools there. I think it could be a good opportunity for me to get in front of them. Okay, great. Where do you stand? Where do you stand amongst your peers? Are you a guy at this current stage of your playing career where you can go there and actually open eyeballs and make an impact? So as we've talked about on here, velocity. Are you throwing hard enough to be a Division I pitcher?
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? Like, are you a guy that is going to get on a mound and throw in the mid 90s and the low 90s? Let's call it even the low 90s or upper 8s, depending on where you are, what year you are in high school currently. So understanding your skill set, the schools that are in attendance, and if you are even a guy that from a skill perspective meet those requirements that these coaches are looking for. And if you don't, it is way more beneficial to, in my opinion, to invest your time and your money into developing those skills. So instead of spending, $1,500 to go get in front of these college coaches, but I know my skill set is not up to that requirement, go invest in your own development by, let me get on I'm going to take this summer and just train.
I love that.
I'm gonna train to throw harder. I'm gonna get nastier stuff so that by next year, this is where I want to be. Now I can go and get in front of those people. You know what I mean? So
For sure.
I think it, like, first and foremost, the most important part of this is, like, be very, very true to yourself about where you stack up against your peers.
I love it, dude. I absolutely love it. So there's been questions. I had posted something on the Nine Hole podcast. I storied, right? I retweeted a story. I reposted a story on the Nine Hole podcast, and it was a dude taking some pretty poor hacks. It looked like he had no idea what he was doing, unfortunately, at one of these perfect game like main events, dude. So this guy obviously has no skill, I want to say, right? He's probably paid a high level of money to get there, right? He probably traveled to get there. Man, it's kind of tough to showcase that. It's kind of tough to, rely on getting seen. When you go to these showcases, man, you expect to play against and amongst the best talent possible, man. It kind of questions the authenticity of, what's really at heart, man. Is it the kids getting seen at heart, or is it kind of like a money grab, dude? So we had some things pop up here in the last week or so in the youth baseball space, in the amateur space, specifically around these showcases, these recruitment tournaments, and just in the amateur baseball space, man. So PBR, there was a recording of one of their indoor showcases, man. And look, dude, we play baseball in the Northeast, man, so we know how much of a fucking grind it is to try to get baseball showcases, baseball training in year round in the Northeast, dude. I get it. But these guys were having a 60-yard dash, which looked legit, right? There are a bunch of people there. They're wearing baseball pants. They're in this big indoor facility, like grown men running 60-yard dashes through open doorways, man, through like almost hallways, dude. It's almost like, dude, why are we doing this? What are we doing here? What are the kids getting out of it other than like maybe an enhanced 60-yard dash score that they'd be able to outreach to all the colleges, man? It kind of questioned it for me, like, dude, what are we doing here? You know, it kind of questioned like the authenticity of it, dude. I question how much money these parents were paying to get out there. You know what I mean? Have you seen any of this from the kids that you've been coaching, dude? I know that you were helping out building development out in kids in Jersey, dude. You're coaching at a high school and stuff, man. Have you been seeing any of this on like the perfect game front from your kids? I can't hear you through no filter. You're good, bro.
How about now? All right? We're good.
Yes, sir.
All right. So it's really funny because first off, as when you had sent me over the script about what we were going to talk about, I just typed in PBR into a Google search, and the first thing that came up was since 2005 prep baseball report. Is that what it is? Is that what it?
Yeah. I think that's what
Yeah.
PBR's acronym.
The mission has been to provide the most credible scouting and event platform to help players and recruiters alike. And then you send a video of guys running a 60 through hallways and cages and whatever the hell else goes on through these PBR events. So I don't really know how it. I think these like facilities get PBR. I guess the tag, and we're running a PBR showcase where we can send this stuff out to these coaches. I've heard of guys going to these PBR showcases and getting 7 swings. So they're spending all this money indoors and they're taking 7 swings and being graded on those 7 swings. So I hopefully you're coming out of the gate swinging it. Because if you're not,
You just wasted
over.
a lot of money.
You wasted a lot of money to do that. And my thing is this, it's like as soon as you're going to a showcase inside, I have to question the validity of it because it's like I can't stand when you like even in the training space, bro, when I got kids that like, you know, you're hitting with a kid and he hits a ball that hits the side net. And it's like when you go out on a field, it's like a seed over the shortstop's head, and with the perspective of a field, you're excited about it.
Absolutely.
But you get in a cage and these kids are pissed because it's not like directly to the back wall and it looks aesthetically pleasing. So I already can't like the validity of having a showcase inside is like I don't know how credible that could be. So I think it's another one of those things where it's like, hey, we're going to give you the platform. We're going to slap PBR on top of it. Send your kid here for $1,000. We'll have a couple schools and we'll send out your scores and your times and your exit velos out to these schools and see if we get any bites. I think it's I think what I think about it. I will always stand on the idea that if you just develop skill and you work your ass off through an off season and into the season, because we've talked about this too, right? Not letting off the gas when the season starts, not putting a whole off season together and then just saying, yep, season starts, I'm good.
Yep.
Put up numbers, like be a guy that produces during the season and people will hear about you. You will be sought after, whether that is to be on these select teams that people want to take the best players around in the area and take them to these events in the summer. Like, step one, be a good high school player. And we've talked about that before, right? Like, these young kids, they're worried about the next step after when they haven't even touched a high school or a varsity field.
Yeah.
Become a good high school player. And then guess what? People are going to seek you. You don't have to break the bank to get your kid out and in front of these coaches. So it's like, develop skill, be completely honest about where you are currently and where you stack up against people in your area before you can start worrying about where you are on a national stage. If you're not one of the best kids in your area and you're trying to go to these national showcases or these events, I would go ahead. I would probably sit here and tell you that's a waste of money, a big waste of money, and you're not allocating your resources to the right things. Find somebody who knows what they're doing, go develop those skills, and then now you probably get invited to these, and if you don't, at least you develop those skills that you can actually showcase.
Yeah, we got Brick Wall Baseball in the chat. Brick Wall, what's going on, brother? Thank you for being here. He said, I had a kid get 8 swings, throw balls down to second base, and catch bullpens all day for $400 to $500 at one of these showcases. He said exit velos, off front toss, or off the tee. Like, what are we doing? It's an insane money grab. I didn't necessarily participate in too many of these growing up, although I did. Right, I did participate in these, but it was more so focused on like on the field scrimmaging and stuff. I don't even remember doing much of BP. It was more so just playing, dude. I'm questioning the validity of how I'm trying to get my kids seen. If this is kind of what they're going through, you know what I mean?
Mill,
dude,
what
baseball data as well.
Mill, I wanted to say real quick too about that. For you, right? For you specifically, you had an elite tool. Like, you had a tool that would jump off the page though to somebody. So that's like, although like when you, I mean, you look back at pictures of yourself, what were you in high school going into your freshman year of college? 160 pounds, 170 pounds, if that, right? Soaking wet.
100%.
But there was a tool that you can go to one of these events and
change your career.
Exactly. You would open eyebrows because you had an elite tool for the next level. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you're a guy, it's pretty simple, right? It's the hit tool, it's hit for power, it's throw, it's run, and it's catch, and your defensive ability, right? So if you have one of those 5 tools and that they are at a level that is above your peer, and if you look at like the landscape of where college baseball is at, and you can stack up at that level with where you are with that certain tool, you might open some eyebrows. You don't have to do all 5 correct. And I think, or all 5 at an elite level.
It's a good point.
I think that's where people get mixed up. You don't have to do all 5 of those things. If you possess one of those tools and you do it at an elite level, chances are you're probably going to get a shot at the next level, and then hopefully develop those other 4 to a more adequate level. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a runner and you could play a little and you could hit a little bit and go get it in the outfield, I would go run as many 60s as I can in front of people, honestly, because that's a tool at one of these showcases that somebody would be like, holy shit. Like,
give you a shot.
Who is this guy?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, the eyebrow, like you can make a statement with the run, and most of the times the running portion is the first part of the day that you do.
And
you know what I mean?
And if I was doing it in a hallway, right? If that's the one thing that I drove 2 to 6 hours for and paid a couple $100 to try to potentially show out in, right? And I'm fucking running through a hallway or an open doorway. That would be tough. You know what I mean? But I love that point right there, bro. I love that point. There were also some things that I was reading this past weekend, dude. Cam Maben, who we had just talked to before getting on here, had some bad experiences, I should say, with Perfect Game. So his team is a pretty elite travel team, man. And so they're traveling around and they have bad playing surfaces. The turf's kind of out of whack. It might be unsafe. He said he's got coaches from 30 teams coming in to watch his guys play. it's a pretty legit team and a pretty legit tournament, and no one's raking the field. No one's taking care of like the box. No one's taking care of the field. Cam's showing up and he's having to do it himself. Like these guys paid hundreds of dollars to show up and play in front of these guys, have, cross checkers and organizations and teams and shit show up to these legit tournaments. And dude, there's no medical staff. You can't wear metal cleats on, turf and stuff. Like there's all these questions. What do you got on that, dude? Because the stuff that I'm reading, it's basically negligence, bro. It's basically like, hey, come on in here, play some good baseball in some pretty decent spots. Although he's also saying that these spots aren't that decent. Come in here for some eyes, right? Get some buzz around you. Maybe we shoot some social media content, whatever it is. And hopefully you guys get seen. But they're not taking care of their facilities. They're not keeping up with it. Man, they're not doing right by the kids. It seems like the developmental piece is just absolutely secondary, as opposed to raking in as much cash as possible, dude. And I know that's pretty blunt, but it is what it is. Dude, we got somebody right now in the chat at Cliz Baseball.
Cliz. What's up, Cliz?
What's up, Cliz? Cliz Baseball. I played PG last week. The infields were all dirt at one of them. And one of the games, the outfield grass hadn't been cut in months. So that's absolute negligence, Cliz. I'm not sure. Can I ask you how much you paid to be a part of that? You don't have to let me know. You don't have to let me know. That's a personal question. But I'd be mind blown if it was under a couple $100. Danes, what do you got on all this that Cam Maben was talking about tweeting and what's Cliz saying?
It all checks out. And that's what I think we do on this Wednesday segment, right? Is just ask the questions. It's like, what are you paying for? Especially, like, do you know what age group Cam's group was?
Yeah. So I think his kid is committed to Duke.
Okay, so older.
I think he's older. Yeah, he's older.
Okay. So, and that's even more negligence. It's like you have guys that are about to go play college baseball and he has guys that are going to play baseball at a Division I level, and this is the slop that they have to deal with. No medical staff on site. You got a 15-year major leaguer raking the field because you don't have somebody there paying to that you're paying to take care of the fields. Like, this is all stuff that you have to do. And it doesn't shock me, bro, because you said it. It's all a money grab. That's all it is. And I was going to text in the group chat, and I'm going to text in the group chat after this. We were getting on, but I'm going to tell Cam, I'm going to be like, yo, dude, you should just start the Cam Maben Classic. Oh. And just find a field that's really good, half price entry.
Yeah.
And you don't think enough people, if Cam Maben's like, hey, I'm hosting an event, you can't get college coaches there. I've said this on here before, bro. What's stopping anybody from doing that?
I love that.
Because if people really care about, the kids and the players and the development, and what you see is that guys that have played at a high level like he did care about the right things. Like, he doesn't give a shit. His time in the sun's over, bro. It's like, hey, I'm putting this team together. I'm, with my son and his friends, and we're trying to get good ball players seen and get some, attention brought to them. And we go to this perfect game tournament expecting that, because that's what you're telling us that we are going to receive, right?
Yeah.
And we go there and that's what we get. This is what we paid for. This is what I could, if I'm a parent, I'm showing up there and I have a lot of questions. Like, yo, what the hell did I just spent this money on this? You know what I mean? So it's like, and anything I hear, man, it's not, it doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me that this is what goes on. You just get a perfect game bid. Hey, I'm going to host a tournament here. I'm going to cut down costs, and everything is profit from that point, right? I just need your tournament entry. Oh, by the way, I'm going to charge you to park every day that you're at the ballpark too. But I can't use that money that I'm charging you to park to just hire somebody to maintain the goddamn field.
Dumpy. And we're going to take your name, image, and likeness rights. But that's something else. So Cliz said he's not sure how much it was, but it had some top Northeast teams, and it was kind of highlighted as a high-end tournament. Cliz, I'm sorry about that, brother. I hate to hear that. So also some things that we were reading. East Cobb, there was the showcase A couple injuries. Somebody had brought it up. Somebody obviously blew their elbow out on the mound or on the field.
No way.
Received like inadequate medical attention. They said that somebody had like a laceration to the head. That you can look online and see who it is. He's a younger player, so I'm not going to like bring it up. I don't know what the rules are around that, but turns out he's okay. But he was down on the ground for like 20 minutes. Literally, somebody had reported that he was down on the ground for like 20 minutes. He go, and he didn't receive medical attention. They didn't have adequate medical attention or anything, and yeah, so unfortunate. It really is unfortunate, especially with you getting charged for fucking parking. Also, sponsors a bat that was just released. Okay, so Cliz, we had this written down. I wasn't sure how we were going to segue into it.
This is Cliz.
Cliz, what's going on, bro?
This is Cliz is the guy who I was hitting with Cliz last week, and I told him, I'm like, yo, make sure you're on this week because he brought me in on, put me onto this thought, and then I did some digging, and it checks out.
Okay, that fires me up. So, Perfect Game sponsors a bat that was just released. People are saying it's one of the best bats. The shady part is that they banned the hype. So the Hype Fire trampoline bat, the Starburst bat, all different colors, man. Dude, it's banned, right? It's unsafe. They labeled it unsafe. I guess the exit velocities are absolutely through the roof, right, Deans? Is that what I'm gathering?
So the Hype Fire is different than the Perfect Game one. So the Hype Fire was a hot bat thing. I mean, dude, trampoline, and Perfect Game banned the Hype Fire, like with no notice. Like people are buying the bats, and out of nowhere, they're just like, "Hey, you can't use this bat in Perfect Game tournaments.
Really?
Can't use it." Perfect Game then comes out and drops their own Starburst bat. It's called the Tank Soldier. They come out with this bat, and it apparently, like, some dude does like demos for these aluminum bats, and it's even hotter than the Hype Fire, but they allow it. So I was looking at, I typed in Hype Fire, and this is the statement that they came out with. It says that we became aware on Monday, April 8th, of Perfect Game's announcement to suspend the Easton Hype Fire Drop 5, which meets the standards and certifications as determined by USSSA. Perfect Game's announcement was made without prior discussion or notification to us.
Whoa.
So, yes, they just said, fuck it. Your bat's banned. We're coming out with our own that you can use in Perfect Game. That's just insane. Happens to be better. But for safety reasons,
can't use yours.
Can't use the Hype Fire. Not banned in USABL tournaments or in Little League or any of those. Not banned. Only Perfect Game, and then they come out with the Starburst.
Yikes,
and
dude.
They're allowed to use that bat. So, another scam by Perfect Game. And you know what I see now all over the place? I see Starburst all over the place now. So
it's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. It's right on. It's right on par with everything else.
No kidding. So they're
on par,
monopolizing
everything,
the baseball bat industry now, huh?
Dude, they're monopolizing every aspect of it. They're buying up land at these events, like around. So all the hotels are going to be like Perfect Game owned. So everything that you do when you go to these Perfect Game has their hands in it.
That's absurd.
So God bless.
That's absurd, man. That's unfortunate. That really is unfortunate. So we've obviously, okay, the Perfect Game bat is a rocket launcher from Brick Wall Baseball. The Baseball Bat Bros did a review, and it's absolutely absurd, bro. So it's crazy to think, like, talking about the youth baseball space, the amateur baseball space, dude. The amateur baseball space. It's a fucking business, man. The amateur baseball space, dude. It's a business. They hire incompetent teenage tournament directors and pay them garbage. That's crazy, dude. I saw that. I heard that, bro. So how we're bashing them, right? We're calling them out. It's crazy that this is happening in the baseball space. how are these kids supposed to get seen nowadays? So if you can't rely on the biggest name tournaments, the biggest name showcases, the biggest name brands to do right by you, to do exactly what they're saying they're going to do, how are you supposed to get your name out the right way? Dude, do you take matters into your own hands and try to outreach? Bro, that's what I did, right? We talked about it on here before. I didn't necessarily know what the hell I was doing. So I had my mom record a video and I outreached it to all these schools, all the Division 1 schools in the country, and like some bit. And I had a conversation, and obviously they're like, "Hey, are you coming across this way, right?" Teams from like Oregon State and Oregon, I'd send them emails and stuff, right? I don't know anything about, but they're Division 1, so I want to play for them. They're like, "Yo, you coming out this way?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "All right, dude, well, it's not
What
gonna
are we
work."
doing?
Yeah,
Well, no, but dude, there's platforms like all over the place that you could do this and just connect and throw videos of yourself doing whatever it is you're doing and
yeah,
send it out to coaches. So, and here's something that I truly believe. Don't worry about that at 12 years old. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. And you know what I see a lot of, bro? The the little small kid that has acquired skill and technique and athleticism and knows what he's doing, but might be the fourth best player or fifth best player on a current 12, 13U team, especially on the big field now, because that,
yeah, dude.
size, we've talked about this, size wins. Those kids end up being the better players by the time they're juniors or seniors in high school because they've developed they've acquired the skill, right? You talked about what? Time, skill, or
Yeah,
time,
volume times time equals
volume
skill, right?
times time equals skill. They've
Yeah,
checked those boxes. And then by the time they develop physically, those are the best players. So at 12 years old, if you're worried about getting seen at a perfect game tournament, it doesn't matter. It
yeah,
doesn't matter. Like develop skill, become the best high school player on your team, become one of the better players in the area, get videos, send those videos to colleges. Hey, guess what? I hit 500 this year in my high school season. Here's a video of me hitting a 420-foot tater. Okay, my eyes. I'm a college recruiter. I just got this video. Hey, this looks sick. Let me check into this kid. Oh, hey, where are you gonna be? You don't need
yeah,
perfect. The biggest con, in my opinion, and thing that they do is they get parents more so than anything to believe that if you are not in a perfect game tournament, your son is fucked.
yeah. You're missing out.
You're missing out, and you're not. If you're 12 years old, dude, you don't need perfect game. Yes, do the kids love it because it's cool, and I could see my stats, and I can see, how I graded out in this tournament. Like, yeah, I get it. That's cool. The allure of it is really cool. But if you're looking at it in terms of my standing or my future in this game, it holds no weight whatsoever. Zero.
Yep. Could not agree more, man. And I've had college coaches on here where it's like, man, if you just outreach to us, if you just send us something with video, fill out a recruiting questionnaire, keep us updated with how you're doing, like touch base every once in a while, send some stats over. Same shit that you were just talking about, bro. Like Division 1, Division 2 coaches are coming on the podcast and they're saying that, man. So it's beneficial to do that, dude. I the products or service that you can kind of put your career in their hands in order to outreach and not necessarily know if they're doing the right thing behind the scenes and getting you seen and getting you the most opportunities for the money that you're paying is obviously like fucking question number one. What's going on, dude? Right? What's going on? Did these guys have the best interest of the kids, the development, getting seen, recruitment, scouting, all that stuff? Obviously, we got kids getting injuries to the head and fucking bleeding, and we don't have medical attention for 20 plus minutes. That's crazy. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to think that you can require a big asking price to gain entry into these tournaments and then not have somebody maintaining the field or making sure it's playable, making sure it's safe, dude. So glad we brought that up, dude. Glad we hit on all that, man. Glad
Well, I
we
was I
yeah.
was going to
Go
say
ahead.
too, as long as they get their entry fee, everything else is not to worry about it. But RMT Media, players need a good media source nowadays.
Ooh,
Videography. RMT, check them out. I can vouch. Guy's outstanding. He did our stuff at St. Thomas Aquinas this year, and it was awesome. RMT Media, check
That's
him out.
awesome. That's
Awesome.
awesome. Yeah, that's big time. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Luke Lloyd, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Dude, Deans, that's pretty much all I got here, dude. I think that's pretty solid, dude. Before we get out of here, I did want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's stream, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Cleveland Student Visionaries of the Year. It's a leadership development program for high school students. Highly motivated leaders embark on a journey of professional growth, fostering professional skills such as entrepreneurship, marketing, and project management, all while working to raise as much money as possible for LLS, man. So they were a part of 7-week challenge to raise funds for the fight against blood cancer. 37 teams from local high schools in Northeast Ohio raised $1,053,000 in just 7 weeks to help find a cure for blood cancer. Shout out to the sponsor of today's stream, Leukemia Lymphoma Society, Cleveland Student Visionaries of the Year. Everybody, thank you guys for stopping by. Deans, thank you for your time, bro. It's awesome as always, man. Might as well, we'll plan on rendezvousing back here Wednesday, 1:30. Dude, we'll be live on IG and we'll be live on No Filter, man. So hope to see everybody there, man. Appreciate the comments. Deans, thank you for being here, brother.
Appreciate it. Let's see what Perfect Game cooks up in a week's time.
Yeah, dude. Should be interesting to see, man.
Let's
Should be
go.
interesting. See you boys. Take care, everybody.